It's the Nintendo 3DS's anniversary, which means I'm gonna cover 10 of my favorite 3DS games in this video. Hi everybody, Bloodman Bobby here, and since today is the anniversary of the Nintendo 3DS's release in Japan, I wanted to talk about 10 of my favorite Nintendo 3DS games, especially since I've been doing a lot of these videos lately where I talk about my favorite games. I know I did one for the Wii, and I mentioned before that the 3DS is one of my favorite, if not favorite, video game system of all time. And I think this video would explain why the 3DS is up there, because I really like the mix of first and third party games, games that are more family friendly, games that are maybe more for the mature space. I think it has a really good mix of those games, and I'm going to go over them here in this list. I wouldn't call this a top 10 list because I'm not really going in the order of how I would rank them. I'm basically just going in the order of starting off with the games that I have on cartridge first, and then I'm going to go into my the games that I digitally downloaded next, just so I don't have to constantly switch back and forth between my game boxes and 3DS. So yeah, so basically consider this a recommendation list. If you are thinking of getting a 3DS or 2DS from eBay and you're not sure where to start, consider this video where I'm going to go over my favorite Nintendo 3DS games. So this one here I could safely say is my favorite because I mentioned this many times, especially in TikTok Q&As. Please go follow my TikTok, by the way. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater 3D. This was actually the very first Metal Gear game that I beat, and I played, oh my god, I've played this version so many times, and it really just got me into what's unique about the Metal Gear Solid games. I really like how engaging these stealth mechanics are, especially because I'm so used to playing other kinds of games where you're just going around taking down enemies, whereas in this game, Metal Gear Solid, since it's a stealth action game, what you're basically, the objective is you're going around sneaking up on enemy soldiers, taking them out with tranquilizers, even sometimes like apprehending them, holding them up, asking them for information and trying to steal their stuff. So there's really, there's really lots of ways to get around this game, and I've been going back and taking on a lot of the Easter eggs in this game. I know for some of the bosses there are multiple ways in order to defeat them, so I've been getting around to doing that. And so it's just really one of the most engaging games I've played on the 3DS. I actually really like the controls of this game, especially because I'm used to playing more modern games like Peace Walker or more modern FPS games like Doom 2016. So I got used to the controls pretty quickly. I will say in this version, the frame rate does get kind of choppy, especially during the more hectic action scenes, but I still really like this game, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater 3D. I would even go as far as to say is one of my favorite all-time games. Next up here is Pilotwings Resort, which was actually one of the launch titles for the 3DS and the very first Pilotwings game I ever played. I have a lot of fun with this. It's one of those games that, the concept seems really simple, but it's a really enjoyable game. I really like playing the challenges, especially with the airplane and the jetpack. They also have a hang glider, but admittedly, I never really got used to the controls of the hang glider games, but I really like playing the games that involve the airplane and the jetpack, and it is possible to unlock, I guess, upgraded versions, like even more powerful versions of the airplane, jetpack, and the hang glider. Most of the time when I play this game, I usually just like playing the free mode, where you basically get to fly around the island for a couple minutes, mainly because I kind of like that feeling of being free and getting to explore land and getting to see all the landmarks. And I really like the music in this game. Pilotwings Resort has some of the best music I've heard in any 3DS game. I even like listening to the music on its own. So yeah, of the launch titles, Pilotwings Resort is definitely one of my favorites. This is Ace Combat Assault Horizon Legacy, my very first Ace Combat game, and also the first one that I beat. It's basically, it's a dogfight game. You're going around flying this airplane, taking down enemy aircraft. Kind of simple story, but it gets the job done well. I really like the controls in this. I think they're some of the most approachable I've experienced in an Ace Combat game. And yeah, it's a lot of fun if you're looking for a dogfighter game and you're looking for an alternative to Star Fox. I would highly recommend this for the 3DS. It's definitely one of my favorite Bandai Namco games for the system. Right over here, Samurai Warriors Chronicles. So there's a lot of firsts I've noticed from this list. It just so happens that the first Metal Gear, Ace Combat, and Samurai Warriors games I ever played were on the 3DS. And Samurai Warriors Chronicles, which I know this kind of hack and slash game, it's not for everybody. A lot of people say that the Warriors games get too repetitive. Me personally, I kind of see it as more of a guilty pleasure franchise where I'm like, yes, I know each of these games, the concept is very similar. You're going around slashing like 5, 10, 15 dudes at once. But I like that kind of mayhem, so that's why ever since then I've been buying a lot of not just the Samurai Warriors games, but also the Dynasty Warriors games. I've played them on all sorts of systems, both on Nintendo and PlayStation consoles. What sets Samurai Warriors Chronicles apart is that this is the game where you could switch between playing 4 different generals, and one of those soldiers is actually yourself. You could also play as a custom character in the game and team up with 3 other generals in order to take on missions. So yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with this game. I thought this was a really good introduction to the Warrior series. And now onto the games that I have digitally downloaded. What I'll show you here is my all-time favorite Animal Crossing game, Animal Crossing New Leaf. And what I like about this game, it's mainly the characters. So, of course, Animal Crossing New Leaf, similar premise to the other Animal Crossing games. You move into this town full of, animals, and you get to customize your house and all that. What I like about New Leaf the most, and what makes it my favorite game in the series, is are really the characters and what they can do specifically in this game. So I really like, of course, in this game, you get to meet up with characters like Brewster, Tom Nook, his kids. But I really like what this game does with Cyrus and Reese. I really like their secondhand store and the prices that I get whenever I sell stuff to those 2 characters. And I also liked how in this game you get to travel to this island with Cap'n, and you can get a whole lot of money from any fish you catch on the island or any bugs you pick up from there. So it's a lot of fun, and that was why I was really demanding that Nintendo bring at least Captain's Island over to Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I like as well. But New Leaf is still my favorite. Next up here, this is probably one of the most underrated 3DS games. I played Mario Golf World Tour. Again, the very first Mario Golf game I ever played. I just really like how creative a lot of the courses in this game are. Of course, a lot of them are themed after, the worlds of Mario, especially the DLC courses. This is one of the very few games that I like so much. I actually spent money on DLC in order to buy additional courses, and just saying, especially since Nintendo is discontinuing the eShop for the 3DS within the next year or so, if you want to get this game, I highly recommend the DLC, especially since it comes with courses that are inspired from games like Super Mario Galaxy, and there's a lot of others in there too. I think Galaxy only inspired one of the courses, but there's even more like really colorful courses. So I really like how I really like playing this game. There's some really neat power-ups in order to get the ball moving, moving a further distance. And yeah, it just makes for really one of my favorite sports games to play on the 3DS. Next, I'll show you Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. It may not have the most features, like it doesn't have a really epic campaign mode like Smash Bros. Brawl, But honestly, I like Smash when it sticks to basics. Like I feel like Smash is really at its finest. Like when it tackles, you know, doing a really good fighting game well, and that's why I still occasionally play Super Smash Bros. 3DS. People ask me quite a bit which character do I like to play the most in Smash. In the older games, it's usually Kirby, but in games like Smash for the 3DS and the Wii U version, I usually go with Little Mac because I usually tend to do my best when I play fighting games with those really fast characters that could do those really fast punches and kicks. So that's why I really like playing this game. Okay, next one here is Tomodachi Life. Certainly, it was certainly a new franchise. I know it's not a new franchise in Japan. There was a game in this franchise that came out on the original DS, I believe, but Tomodachi Life, I think, was the first one that got an international release. It's a really quirky simulation game. When I first heard of this game, I thought it was going to be the kind of game where you control a Mii and you get to do all sorts of fun stuff. But it's more like you basically observe the Miis and all the kinds of weird activities they do with each other. You still do things like you take care of the Miis, you feed them, you play games with them. But a lot of the fun of this game, oddly enough, doesn't come from like playing or any kind of crazy action scenes. It's more observing the really quirky things the Miis get into. Like, I remember some of the dream sequences in this game where you would see giant versions of the Miis, or they would have some really strange conversations, or if they would get in arguments, they would just start throwing random stuff from their house at each other. And I know there was one, I think one of the games you get to sing songs. I remember that from when they had the Nintendo Direct that was all about this game. But yeah, I certainly had a good time. I would even go as far as to say that Tomodachi Life gave one of the most unique experiences I had on the 3DS. I don't think any list of favorite Nintendo 3DS games will be complete without Mario Kart 7. While it's not my favorite Mario Kart by a long shot, it still gets the job done well. I would say probably some of the coolest things about Mario Kart 7. I do like how it introduced me to some of the courses that people have been talking about, like the Woohoo Loop, which is inspired by Wii Sports Resort, which is one of my favorite games on the Wii. And it also has Coconut Mall. I know lots of people make memes about the song that plays over the course. And it does have some nice 3D effects, especially when that squid character sprays ink in your face. So it gets the job done. I do like Mario Kart 7. And last but not least, here's a franchise that I don't think I talk about much on YouTube, but I mentioned before in other places, and that would be Ridge Racer 3D. Another launch title, certainly of the racing games available at the 3DS's launch. I think that this one was so much better than Asphalt 3D. It's, basically, your, a Ridge Racer, game that, does, well, you're basically, because in this game, unlike Mario Kart 7, you're driving kind of more, realistic looking sports cars and getting into races with others. And it's a lot of fun to do drifting. So this one has more of an emphasis on street racing, I would say. Not like Need for Speed levels, but, basically, you're going around these big cities and racing other sports cars. So it gets the job done. I don't like it quite as much as Ridge Racer for the PSP. That one is my favorite Ridge Racer, but as far as getting to play Namco's classic racing series on the 3DS, I would say that this game gets the job done pretty well. Alright, so that has been my list of 10 of my favorite 3DS games. I couldn't exactly do a top 10 list because I couldn't find one of the games I really wanted to mention in this video, and I got pretty close to beating it too. But I would say that this is more of like a recommendation list. I realized making this video that one of the reasons I like the 3DS so much is that it introduced me to a lot of really amazing franchises. Like, this was the system where I played my first Ace Combat, Metal Gear, and Mario Golf games. So yeah, so that's a big part of why I would say the 3DS is my favorite system. And also because I feel like as I get older, or I've become more introverted, and that's why I started to appreciate portable gaming systems more and more, since you don't need a big TV, or in my case, a big monitor to get to play them. So these are all the reasons why I would say the 3DS is my favorite game console of all time. But let me know your thoughts down below. Even though I just gave you my 2 cents on my favorite 3DS games, I would like to hear yours. If you've played a 3DS or 2DS, what are your favorites? What do you recommend? Leave all those comments down below. And until next time, this has been Blood Moon Bobby, and thank you all for watching. Hi everyone, thanks for watching this Blood Moon Bobby video. Like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel to see more of my videos, and ring the bell to be notified about my latest uploads. Don't forget to follow me on social media for my latest opinions and video updates. I hope to see you next time.